It seems like every other holiday gets their big slasher flick. How many times have we had one at Halloween? How many times have we had one at Christmas? I'm sure even Jennifer's Body could be a Valentine's Day one. But you know what holiday has never had their big horror movie? Is Thanksgiving. And maybe there's a reason for that. What do you do with that? I don't know. But Eli Roth did, and he made a movie about it called Thanksgiving, akin to Halloween at Halloween, a movie that is kind of lost in the shuffle of everything going on right now. We're out of the Halloween season, so it's kind of counter programming to the bigger blockbusters coming out at this time. And it's also an Eli Roth movie, and he's kind of just like a journeyman for Hollywood these days. He'll make the, House with the Clocks in its Walls, which is kind of a good movie people think about. He'll make a Borderlands movie that won't get released, and then he'll make an entire movie in between Borderlands release before that comes out. It's like insane. Because he filmed Borderlands before Thanksgiving, right? Because this isn't a big shoot, I don't imagine. And Borderlands is scheduled to come out next year, but until then, here's some Eli Roth horror action for you. Which feels like a return to form for him, where he's suddenly like, this was the idea they let me do. It's not based on a book, it's not based on an IP. I can just come in with a low budget, get the sexiest man alive in here for some reason, and make a movie for you. That's what he did. And it's a pretty good movie. Look, this is a specific type of film. With every Eli Roth movie, that's the case. And with every slasher film, that's the case. It's not going to be a universally beloved thing that everyone goes into expecting this transcendent experience in cinema. But this is a movie fully aware of the narrative it's telling, the story it's playing with, exactly what it wants to be. And for that, you have to appreciate it. There's not a frame in this movie that feels like this is just added or we need an extra scene here. It's a very competent film that understands we're having fun, but you're going to be laughing and cringing and freaking out at some of the stuff going on. It plays with the R rating well. I think there's some other big franchise horror movies that are afraid to kind of get dirty again, where they're making fine films and they're okay. But sometimes you just want like the kitschy stuff to come back and make it special. This plays a little bit like I Know What You Did Last Summer, mixed with the events of Scream, mixed with Halloween, and that's pretty fun. It is both a movie that feels of the early 2000s in that genre of slasher flick, a Final Destination even. It's just a bunch of kids that are so clearly written to be this specific thing. But they also act so 2023, where it's a movie solely built on the idea that this is about internet fame and stuff like that, which is such a weird thing to see Eli Roth explore. He's not a young guy anymore, so I don't know how in touch he is. But this just kind of shows to me he is in touch with it, and he gets it. Like, yeah, if you're going to be a serial killer today, you'd have specific forums you're on. You'd have live streams you're promoting to the world. You'd be posting and tagging people on Instagram because you're a weird psychopath in that variety. And I do appreciate that. And it works well for this. While still having the nostalgic feeling of the movies that Roth made before and the era he has so much fondness for. It's pretty cool. It's doing Halloween. It's Thanksgiving time. And there's this killer after an incident happens years earlier. And that opening sequence, by the way, the Black Friday supermarket massacre, is one of the most insane things that I've seen a movie open with. Because you're like, oh, it's kind of nice and pleasant. But then it's like, oh, we're all having Thanksgiving. Big stores open. And then Onslaught. And that is a bold way to give us the feeling we're doing here. And also harkens what do you really do if you're making a Thanksgiving slasher movie? What are the themes you play with of Thanksgiving that become the stuff that's associated with the slasher thing? Halloween is set at Halloween. It's not really about the Halloween aesthetic. People are in costumes. That's kind of it. But this is Roth being no, we're going to do all the main things. The villain's going to wear a mask of one of the first people to invent Thanksgiving, John Carver. We're going to set it in Plymouth, Massachusetts. So yeah, that's where that's going to be taking place. We're going to have everyone do insane accents, which is amazing. And there's going to be parades and turkey stuff and pilgrim stuff. We're really integrating into the atmosphere that it is Thanksgiving at the place that invented Thanksgiving. That's pretty cool. And it makes it a little more special in that capacity. I think it's just like, you could set this in any town, but just having the backstory here, it adds to this being Thanksgiving. It is now the Thanksgiving movie for this genre. And that's really fun to see. And yes, the dialogue is cheesy at times, and some of the effects are kind of silly, but we play with it well. Always looks great. Even if it is over the top, I'm smiling through all of it. Actions are being had that I'm like, this is ridiculous, and I'm having so much fun. It was a really good crowd-pleasing movie where I think everyone in the audience is just so aware of the tone we're going for, the spirit we're invoking. It's just gory slasher stuff. We're not doing like the serious approach where everyone's just like dark and brooding. It's like, no, they're going to act stupid and make bad choices. They're going to accuse everybody of everything. There was just so many, it's just like, it's you for the wrong people. I really do love that. And this is an interesting cast. You know, there's some names in here that people might recognize. The big one's probably Patrick Dempsey, who delivers a really insane performance. What he's doing in this is so specific, and you clock exactly the beats that he's going to go down right away. But it's kind of impressive that he would let himself be portrayed this way. I don't know, I guess there's like the stigma with him that maybe he's like above it all. But no, he's like a little goofball, and he's willing to have fun, and that's kind of cool to see. And Gina Gershon's in this for a minute, and you're like, okay, Gina, go off for like your limited screen time. I won't tell you what happens with her, but it's pretty impressive. And then Addison Rae. The biggest surprise for me with Addison Rae is that, one, she's not the lead, and two, she was really good at fading in. Not for a moment did you just get distracted like, oh, that's like the most famous person alive right now. Never comes up. It never distracts you from the piece. She blends perfectly in, and I'm very impressed that happened. Now, again, I'm not a younger person that follows her entire career. Maybe if I did, seeing her in here would be distracting, but being aware of her, I was not at all distracted by her presence in this. She wasn't the lead. It was Nell Verlicue, something like that. Veliacru, something like that. She played the lead character, who did fine, you know. Louis Litt's her dad, and he's a creepy guy, and it works well, and it's just a bunch of slasher stuff happening to the events of the Black Friday. That's pretty insane. And I promise you, some of the kills are so original. It's really impressive. Like, there are things going on that are so funny that you've never seen before. Like, this is an amazing thing we're seeing happen in this movie right now. I appreciate that immensely. It was a good time. It was breezy. It was easy. It just ran through here. We're inventing a new iconic killer. I could see people dressing up as John Carver. I could see sequels being made to this on the cheap. You could if you wanted to. I don't think you need to. But for a Thanksgiving slasher movie, there's no better way it could have been executed. It was just perfectly of the style it was going for. And I think this could put Roth back in the good graces to get more of his stuff made if he wants to. Again, I don't know where his passions lie at the moment, but this was clearly one of them. And I'd be excited to see what he does next. You know, this was an interesting movie. Kind of exciting in a really weird, funny way. So, Thanksgiving, I am going to give an 8 out of 10. Now, thank you all for watching this review. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And of course, I will catch you in the next one. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. I'm in Canada, so we had it already, but have fun. Stay safe. Good luck.